All right, so I'm going to show you call queues, how to use them, why they were built, how they make you a little more efficient if you're making multiple calls down a list. So the first step is to create your view. So create your filter view. So if you're going to add leads to a call queue, you may want to filter, by data form. You may want to filter by status of lead, any kind of lead labels that are associated with your leads. You can filter by pixel leads. You can filter by activity. You're also your list labels that you've set in. So whatever your filter is, and once you have your leads that are associated with your filters, and you may just want to add everyone to a lead, but once they're in your filter view, you would come in. So for instance, let's say I just want everybody from the data imports to go to a call queue. So I can select my filter, I can close this, and now I'm only seeing leads that are associated with my data import filter. Now I want to throw all of these into a call queue, and that way I can be efficient at who I'm calling for the day. So a lot of users will set up call queues, multiple call queues, or just a list of people they know they have to call for that day. And so in this case, maybe I want all three of these to be in a call queue. I would go ahead and select all. Again, if you have hundreds here, when you hit select all, it's selecting everybody in that filter view. And I'm going to click on queue. So when I click on that, I have an option of adding to a existing queue or removing from the queue. And then I can add a new queue. So first queue. So once you type in your queue name, just hit add or remove. And what that's doing is adding all your leads to your call queue. It's activating that call queue. And you'll see on the right-hand side at the bottom, you have this call queue. And so what this does is this follows you around. No matter where you go in the system, you have this call queue that just follows you around. You can also access your call queue settings. So if you come over here in leads and then click on call queues, you can see how many leads are in your call queue still. Is it active? Maybe you have 10 different call queues and you don't want all of them showing up here. You just want the one you're actually working on. You can click on edit and turn it off. It doesn't remove the leads from the call queue, just basically turns it off from showing off down here. And so as you work through the system, this call queue shows up, and why that's efficient. So for instance, in a typical scenario, let's say I had to call the Joker, Tim Drake, and Alfred. So I come into the Joker, I make a phone call, I update my lead status, I do my activity that I need to do, then I have to hit back. Now granted, my filter is still saved with me, right? So it continues to save, but now I need to remember that, hey, I just called the Joker. Maybe if they all had the same status, I can easily see that the status has changed. But it's still, one, time consuming to go back and forth. Two, you can get confused of who you've called and haven't called, especially if you're doing high numbers. With the call queue, you don't have to worry about that. So for instance, if I'm here, I'm going to see that the Joker, of course this uses first name and these there. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. So now I'm inside the Joker. I place my phone call, I do what I need to do, and I change the lead status to left voicemail. So now the lead status has changed. What's happening on the background is this lead's actually being removed from the call queue. And so now in my call queue, if I were to go to the next person in line, which is Tim, the Joker is no longer in there, right? And so same thing here, I can change, say, second option here. So now I can go into Alfred. And so now my call queue is progressively getting smaller because I'm updating the status. So as long as you update the status of your lead, they're removed from the call queue. And so it just allows you to continue to go through all of your leads. And once your call queue is exhausted, you've done all the calling that you need to do for those leads, or at least the activity they have assigned. And then of course you can always add and create, your call queue again. You can just select all three and assign them to your existing queue. You just because they got removed, you can reassign them if you like, or create, another filter list and add additional leads to your queue. And so you can have like my leads I have to call today queue, right? Or, my West Coast leads, or my, special event leads and things like that, and put them in call queues. That way you can quickly go through all of your leads, update your status, and once this is exhausted, there's no more leads in it, then you're done with that call queue and you completed that task.